Lost media as a whole is fascinating, literally everything about it. It's something that brings a lot of people together, trying to find something they felt like they had lost or never had in the first place. However, there are times when rumors and speculation get out of hand. While some things might have a shredded truth, some pieces of lost media just don't exist. Today, I'll cover 15 pieces of non-existent lost media. Shima Shima Tora no Shimajiro is an educational children's anime made by the studio Benes in 1993. The show follows the adventures of Shimajiro and his friends as they discover Challenge Island. The show is most known for its toilet training skits, which turned into a meme in America. The show has since had 3 sequels and is one of the most popular children's anime in Japan. Rumors would eventually swirl around that the show had an English dub, with one person claiming to have episodes on VHS. It was said by the preschool port that the show was dubbed by Sinar, the company that made Caillou, and that had previously dubbed Koala Boy Koki. According to them, they changed the name of the show to The Adventures of Shimajiro and some aspects inside it, like character names and changing Challenge Island to Animal Island. However, a Lost Media Wiki user was able to get in contact with someone at Benes, and they said that they had never licensed the show to any English-speaking company, so this means that the show was never dubbed into English. In 1963, X, The Man with X-Ray Eyes, was released and directed by Roger Corman. It starred Ray Milland as Dr. James Xavier, a man with constantly increasing vision powers that would end up driving him mad. The released ending showed Xavier stumbling into a tent and ends up following the advice of an evangelist to pluck out the offending eye, leading him to blind himself. In the book Dance Macabre by Stephen King, he claimed that an alternate ending existed, where Xavier claimed that he could still see, making his effort pointless. However, in a 2017 interview, Corman stated that this ending doesn't exist and that King had just written an ending for the film after watching it. However, he did express interest in possibly remaking the movie with the ending that King wrote. VeggieTales is an insanely popular Christian series made by Big Idea in 1993, and it's a show I have fond memories of. Daniel O'Brien worked at Big Idea in the late 90s until he was fired in 2002/2003 after their bankruptcy. Later on, someone had asked O'Brien if there were any segments of VeggieTales that didn't make the cut, to which he replied, no, but the animators used to make joke alternate endings to shots where characters would die. The only proof of these endings was on O'Brien. It wasn't until 2019 until someone asked about the endings and he cleared things up by saying, curses! This clever person has foiled my plans to con everyone into thinking that some people made some jokes. So, this shows that he was only joking and that these endings don't exist. Pecky was supposedly a maze game developed by Phoenix Games, a company known for ripping off other games, set for the PlayStation 2 with a release date in 2004. The game was most known for its box art, which appeared on many lists for the worst box art, and of course for it being an obvious rip-off of Pac-Man. That is all we had of the game, leading many people to think it might have been a hoax. It wasn't until YouTuber RetroDetect dived into the search for it, finding out that the box art was an image stolen from a ray tracing competition, and how the game had never made it past the concept stage. So this game seems to be just another Ket Croc. New Kids on the Block was a proposed NES game that was going to be developed by the Parker Brothers, who were known for making board games at the time, based around the iconic American boy band, probably during the height of their popularity in the late 80s. David Crane, a famous video game designer, was also hired to help. There is little information about it though, since it never made it past the concept stage, and all that exists of it is a prototype box. The box seems to have an interesting story according to the Nintendroid blog though. They said, it made its way to the offices of a now-defunct gaming magazine, Electronic Gaming Monthly, where staff confirmed to have used the box as a hockey puck and a drink coaster. After some years, it went home with former EGM writer Andrew Barron. Unfortunately, Andrew Barron passed away on July 26, 2009. His wife sold off a collection of his oddities, one of them being the famous New Kids on the Block box. It was sold on eBay for $589 by Tracy Barron, even though the buyer ended up not paying for it. When asked about the listing, Tracy said, "Honestly, this box doesn't have much value to me personally. Some people said they were interested, so I listed it. What it gets bid up to is out of my control. I was surprised at the price too." Most of the English and Japanese dubs for Hamtaro are accounted for. However, the episode The Warm Scarfcapade is rooted in mystery. There's very little information about the episode, and no info about it was ever found on any of the English home media releases. For unknown reasons, the episode was included on a 2007 Malaysian VCD release of Season 4, but trying to find this out-of-print disc has been very difficult. It's cited on the box that the episode was in English, but that hasn't been proven. But it was proven that the episode doesn't exist due to an official episode list, and that one company, Yes Asia, seemed to have made a mistake when listing the episodes. They skipped over the episode Laura's Valentine for some reason, even though that was shown on the Season 4 disc. So it's thought that maybe The Warm Scarfcapade is a misunderstood name for the real episode Laura's Valentine, or that it was simply a printing error on the release. And according to one comment on the LMW, it could also just be a case of mistaken identity for a Season 1 episode, Knitting Craze, and that the company who released the disc had a more literal translation of the original Japanese title, Totoko Atsutaka Mafurua Daisakusen, before the dubbers changed it. While the Doraemon episode, The Mystery of Goodyland, is real, the US adaptation doesn't seem to exist. The original episode centered around Nobita, Doraemon, Shizuka, Gian, and Tsuneo going to a second world after a floating cake, only to discover that the land around them is made out of sweets, and that it also seemed to be a candy-themed amusement park. The park ended up disappearing right underneath them, along with all the candy in the world, so the team set out on a journey to find the stolen park. For the US version of the show, which is known as Doraemon Gadget Cat from the Future, the episode was going to have the title Adventures in Candyland, and was going to be dubbed by Bang Zoom Entertainment and TV Asahi Corporation. It was supposed to be a special 30-minute episode instead of the typical 15-minute segments to be released on August 28, 2015. Despite the episode showing up in TV guides, it went unaired. It's rumored that the episode didn't air due to the Disney ABC television group, the group responsible for airing episodes of Doraemon on Disney XD, thinking the episode may cause kids to overindulge in sweets. Adventures in Candyland ended up being replaced by another episode, Nobi Nobi He's Our Man and Gone with the Sneeze. Later on, in a YouTube livestream by CLW Entertainment, the US voice actor for Gian, Kaji Tang, would appear as a guest. Eventually, the topic of the missing episode came up, and that's when he revealed what actually happened with Adventures in Candyland. Disney had axed the episode before the actors had started recording, which I think is quite disappointing. Disney needed to approve each episode before they started dubbing, and while I understand why they did it, I find it quite ridiculous. Animaniacs is a pretty well-known comedy skit series created by Tom Ruegger that featured many iconic characters like Pinky and the Brain and Yakko, Wacko, and Dot. They are also no stranger to the lost media community. However, one character, Minerva Mink, only had 2 skits released about her, which I found kind of odd. Because of the suggestive nature of Minerva, there are many rumors of unaired skits featuring her. Another strange thing about the skits is that she was edited in post-production by Teletoon Radio to be more family-friendly. Years later, in 2016, Ruegger hopped on Reddit to participate in an Ask Me Anything topic. One user asked him about the missing shorts, to which he replied, "Sorry, there are no unaired Minerva shorts, but she did have a significant appearance in the Animaniacs comic books." The Cheetah Girls is a Disney Channel original movie trilogy from the early 2000s. Each movie featured Adriana Bellon, Keely Williams, Raven Simone, and Sabrina Bryan working together as a musical girl group sharing the same name. The first film garnered a lot of success, so a TV series was considered. There is little to no information about the series, but it was rumored to take place after the first movie, with the group wanting to focus solely on their music careers. MTV News claimed that the production for the show began in 2004, but there are statements to refute that, since other people say that the production hadn't even started. The show ran into problems in the very beginning, due to Raven Simone being busy with That's So Raven at the time. Raven recalled that time as conflicting for her, since she wanted to focus on the former and not have to juggle another large role. Rumors swirled about a potential pilot, but those were put to rest in 2019. Both Keely Williams and Sabrina Bryan said that a pilot doesn't exist, and there was never anything tangible with the show. It didn't even have a script, or anything like one. Now, this one might be the shortest entry on the list next to Packy, since there is so little information about it. Anyways though, Felix the Cat Puppet Party. It was a canceled TV show by both Felix the Cat Productions and Flexitoon. Felix, Poindexter, and the Professor were all supposed to star as puppets built by Flexitoon. According to the one promotional pic we have, there were supposed to be 13 30-minute episodes and 60 10 to 15-second interstitials. When someone asked co-founder Craig Maron about the show, he said, "Hi, thanks for asking about the show. Unfortunately, it never made it past the planning stages. Puppets were built as you see, but the producers decided not to go forward. It would have been a great one though. Uncle Floyd was brought in to be the host. Keep checking www.flexitoon.com for an exciting new show about to drop. All the best, Craig Maron." So that leaves us with one image to even know that the show existed, and maybe the puppets are somewhere too. Nothing was ever produced or even written, which I feel is really disappointing for fans of Felix the Cat. I'm not a fan of puppet shows personally, but I feel for those who might feel like they are missing out on something that could have been good. Back in 1990, the Stone Temple Pilots started working on a demo album after gaining some success in the hard rock scene. The band originally started as Mighty Joe Young in 1985, but changed their name when they signed with Atlantic Records. At first, they had a completely different music style. From funk influences to even yodeling, they were completely different compared to the alternative meets metal band we know today. The band comes from San Diego, California, which allowed them to tour around the city and gather a very dedicated fan base. The former demo ended up having several songs being reworked into their studio album Core that released on September 29, 1992. The album was a major success, launching the band into stardom and the honor of being known as one of the most iconic bands of the 90s. However, many songs went unreleased. The most known of these songs is Only Dying, which many people claim is one of their best early works. The song was pretty dark compared to what made them famous, having the overtone of death, loneliness, and helplessness. For unknown reasons, the band decided not to re-record Only Dying, leaving it out of their debut album. Later, in 1993, the band was asked to submit a song for the Alex Proyas movie The Crow. This movie would end up infamous due to the tragic passing of Brandon Lee, the son of martial arts legend Bruce Lee, to an accidental firing of a prop on set. The accident was caught on film, and some say the footage was destroyed, but others say someone might have it. Nonetheless, it's considered one of the many pieces of dark lost media. Because of Brandon's death, the band decided it would be disrespectful to redo the song, and they ended up submitting their song on their second album Purple, titled Big Empty. Despite this, Only Dying has leaked and can be found on YouTube. It was even on the 20th anniversary Core album. Speculation about the 1993 version went around, but Robert and Dean DeLeo, members of the band, debunked those rumors in a Rolling Stones article in 2017. With over 1,000 episodes, Pokemon has had its fair share of controversial media since getting its start in 1997. From Electric Soldier Porygon, holiday hijinks, Beauty and the Beach, and the subject of this entry, The Legend of Dratini. The episode in question aired on November 25th, 1997, episode 35 out of 52 of Pokemon Indigo League, but it would never air outside of Japan. The episode revolved around Ash, Misty, and Brock heading to the Safari Zone where they meet Kaiser, who tells them a story about Dratini. As they set off after it, Team Rocket eventually would arrive and try to get info out of Kaiser and set up a plan to capture Dratini. American company 4Kids banned the episode after seeing a weapon pointed at Ash, which violated their strict censors and worried that it might not fall under kid-friendly guidelines. It also violated terms with the Federal Communications Commission, or the FCC as most know them. Footage of the episode can be seen in the PokeRap, so we at least know that 4Kids has the episode. Fans of the show wondered for a while if a dubbed episode was hidden or possibly archived somewhere deep within 4Kids. But it wasn't until Brock and James's English voice actor, Eric Stewart, said that a dubbed episode does not exist. Despite this, the episode has appeared on English websites listing every episode with a description included. Disney Channel's launch in 1983 was successful with the programming it had at the time, with shows like Welcome to Pooh Corner, Good Morning Mickey, and Contraption, and those programs would go on for many years. One show that was announced, though, Dreamfinders, never ended up releasing. The show was based on the Epcot attraction Journey into Imagination, that changed to Journey into Your Imagination in the late 90s, and then finally settled on Journey into Imagination with Figment. Man, that was a mouthful. The history of the ride is very tumultuous, and Bright Sun Films and Defunctland both have great videos on the topic that I'll leave down below if y'all are curious. Anyways, back to our regularly scheduled programming. The show revolved around a group of children in the real world meeting Dreamfinder, or Old Eli as the show called him. Then they travel to the realm of imagination. Conflict ensues as it does with most shows. The villain in Dreamfinders is known as Fear, and he uses his henchmen to try and get the protagonist dragged into the abyss of bewilderment. Each episode was supposed to be an hour long with weekend airings. While they never started production, Old Eli did make an appearance at the launch of the Disney Channel on April 18, 1983. The search for the show seemed to start on December 12, 2016, after Lost Media Wiki user CCA Tenny, forgive me if I butcher that completely, made a thread on the forum trying to find people to help him find Dreamfinders. 4 days later, user The Raincrafter was able to contact a screenwriter of the show, Doug Williams, and got their hands on the script for one episode, just in time. Williams also had a reason why the show never happened. He said, just as the show was building ahead of steam, Michael Eisner took over as head of Disney Studios and shut down production for no apparent reason, other than it was common practice when there's a change of power. The script was digitized soon after and posted on the forum for the search, along with the emails they shared. It was a very exciting find for sure, as I was able to give more insight into the show. The show could have been iconic, especially with the ride to go along with it, and I really wish it had been made. I don't know guys, the ride that inspired it, though, seems to have changed a lot in recent years, and it's disappointing people. So I think Disney missed out on a pretty good opportunity. Croc 3 Stone of the Gobos. Now, this one brings back the days of me scrolling through the Lost Media archive when I was first getting into Lost Media. Spoiler alert, it was a hoax. Anyways, this game was supposed to be a sequel to the Croc series by Argonaut Software that was being worked on between 2001 to 2005. But Argonaut closed down, and the rights of Croc were given to ZeniMax, famous for the Elder Scrolls games and Fallout 76. Yet Jen Saz, co-producer of the original Croc games, has the rights currently. It's set to release on the PlayStation 2, GameCube, and Xbox, while taking place right where the second game ended. Croc would face Baron Dante and save the Gobos once more, but Dante had a plan. He had, pause for dramatic effect, a spell that makes Croc have to find an artifact to stop him. I think we've heard that idea somewhere before. I don't know. Maybe I'm making things up. Who knows? The game was also going to have an explorable hub to make it easier on newer young players, similar to what Spyro Year of the Dragon had. Multiple player functionality was possible, and with a new character, Ginger, who was a love interest for Croc. The composer Justin Scarvona was also set to return. While development started in 2001, Argonaut split into 3 separate teams to help develop the game with 10 people each, and that caused the game to change, many times. Croc's voice actor also didn't return, and the engine they were using was very unstable. Brender, their in-house engine, pushed consoles to their limit, but they continued to struggle since they wanted to stay true to their word and keep the series as a trilogy. A prototype of the game was going to be leaked by a past employee of Argonaut, but they stopped that notion pretty quickly. The employee was only able to release some info since, and I quote, because ZeniMax is a cease and desist crazy type company. Unseen 64, though, would end up being the catalyst for the whole thing being revealed as a hoax. According to their info, ZeniMax had never canceled the project because they never had it. Jen Saz, the co-producer previously mentioned, still had the rights to the series and was planning to use Croc in another game. Unseen 64 also contacted Bethesda, who confirmed that ZeniMax, a subsidiary of theirs, never owned the rights to Croc. So I don't really understand where people get the information to make these hoaxes, unless they are really good at making things up. It all started on November 19th, 2011, with a forum post and an Amazon listing. Christopher Robert Zimmerman had posted about DVDs coming out on the 22nd, just 3 days later. It's the first known mention of one of the most famous pieces of Lost Media, A Day with SpongeBob SquarePants. CRZ said about the movie, "I found very little on this one. Maybe they're trying to keep it under the radar and avoid litigation." It is clear that this movie was not made by Nickelodeon, making it a mockumentary of sorts. It wasn't until the next year, on New Year's Day, that a user on Twitter named @TheDanielShawn said he was watching the film, yet they have seemed to privated their account in recent years. A theme song would also be leaked, but I doubt that it's real. Little information came out about the movie after that, until Blame It on Jorge covered the movie in his Top 20 Lost Kids films, and then a Lost Media Wiki article followed. The synopsis for the film says, "In this mockumentary, SpongeBob lives above ground like all Hollywood superstars. Afraid that SpongeBob is becoming old news, his boss runs a contest called Spend a Day with SpongeBob. The contest makes SpongeBob the talk of the town, as thousands of kids enter to win. The lucky winner is Seth, and he's ecstatic about his day with SpongeBob. However, the day becomes a roller coaster ride as things do not go quite the way they planned." The real search for the film didn't seem to start until 4chan thread was created on August 4th, 2015, and more information was revealed. The boy on the box art is nothing but a stock image, and that Inavision Films doesn't exist. It's possible that they could have been used as a placeholder for Regal Films, who was actually behind the movie, or maybe it was another way of avoiding legal problems. Regal Films would prove themselves to be quite suspicious though, since their website had a Trojan virus, and some thought they were even a money laundering scheme. The image of SpongeBob's house had been stolen from an artist too, named Jorge Pacheco. The thread did have significant traction, and one of the bigger moments in the search was when a possible former employee posted on the thread in August 20th, 2015, talking about how he, one other friend, and Lorenzo worked for Regal Films, and their involvement with the Day of SpongeBob SquarePants. They said, and I quote, "I worked for Regal Films up until 2012. It was founded by one of my childhood friends who wanted nothing more than a quick buck. It's not a legit production company. It is run out of that friend's house, and the only employees were me and another friend. Pretty much equal to a bootlegging ring, though not totally illegal. Though it is true we made many DVDs that were simply slideshows. We also got our hands on a few semi-major productions that the studios wanted nothing to do with. A Day with SpongeBob SquarePants was made by Viacom without involvement from any of the regular SpongeBob crew after the success of the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. As such, the cover art is not even remotely reminiscent of the film. We were told to locate any semi-relevant clip art that looks SpongeBob-ish, but not to use any assets from the film. The unauthorized mockumentary thing was put there to throw people off. The plot was pretty simple but still only vaguely related to the online summary. Basically, Patchy, played by definitely not Tom Kenny, wins a contest to spend a day with the Bikini Bottom gang, and he actually gets to. He everything up initially, but soon fixes it all. It was a mess. The whole thing was pretty much one reference to an episode after another, and when I say reference, I mean verbatim reenactment with Patchy thrown in awkwardly. And like I said, them up. There's no real conflict, though several Plankton schemes are recreated. The animation was actually pretty good, not show level, but official looking. Every screenshot in this thread is fake. Other than a brief, probably no more than 3 minutes Patchy segment, it is totally animated. Nobody was played by their regular actors. My guess is this was kind of a reverse pitch pilot, produced to give the SpongeBob crew an idea of what Viacom wanted, but it never went through. Now, why exactly did Viacom just give it to us? No clue. My guess is that they didn't. That's just what we were told. Why is it so hard to find? Only a small number of copies were produced. Same goes for everything we make. Unfortunately, I had no desire to see this again, so I didn't take a copy of the DVD. The files probably still exist on my friend's computer. For whatever reason, he was ultra protective of our data, not letting us work on things from home or other computers in general. Trust me, I know you guys are committed to tracking it down, but it's not worth it. It's not terrible, it's not amazing, it's not even that much of a piece of history. I can see if I can do something, but I'm telling you guys, it ain't worth finding. A lot happens after that, and I could go over the whole timeline if anyone is interested, but I believe others have done it first. Rebel Taxi also made a video about the search post 4chan thread, and had a call with MVD. While his video brought more people into the search, it was also met with strong criticism over a fake out and a tangent about Hastings, an entertainment store. MVD would come up again multiple times as the search continued, but they would end up saying it was just listed and inevitably cancelled. There still may be promo DVDs around, but not any full film. It's like a rabbit hole of lost media. However, I'm gonna try my best to condense the rest. The person who made the film was found, but he goes by the name Mr. Orange to maintain his privacy. He gave his reasoning why the film wasn't out yet, with things like legality concerns with Nickelodeon and Viacom, and not having the funds to make the movie. So, a plan was set to start a campaign to get enough money to make the film, but as far as I know, no fundraiser has officially started. In 2016, after Mr. Orange was contacted, many rumors surrounding the film were cleared up, and 5 pages of the script were found. So, there are 15 pieces of non-existent lost media. The whole concept of fake lost media is weird to me, especially for those who make them just to upset people. Or for the people who just live to cause drama in the community. I think lost media is supposed to bring people together, but what do I know? Anyways, thank y'all for watching. Leave a like and subscribe, but only if you want to. I'm trying to hit 2K subs by the end of September. If y'all have any video ideas, please let me know down below, and don't forget to let me know your thoughts too, because I'd love to discuss them. But I hope you guys have a fantastic day.